Well, good morning everybody. Welcome back to another video. The time is currently 4:30 and I'm just leaving the house. Sunrise is in half an hour and we've got a forecast today of sunshine and really heavy showers, so I have got my brolly for a change. Looking forward to the morning. I've got only half a day. I've got to be done by lunchtime, but that's all right. We're in the middle of July now, so by around about 10 o'clock we're going to certainly have some harsh light if there's any sunshine about. Obviously if it's cloudy then we're all right, but chances are if it's cloudy this morning it's probably going to be throwing it down. So limited time. I'm not going to make life difficult for myself. I'm just going to go for a walk when I get there, probably about 10 minutes drive from where I'm going this morning, and just see what we see. So I will see you when we get there. Right, heck, it's windy out there, but it's warm enough for a t-shirt, so that'll do me. Surprisingly, there's still birdsong about. I didn't think there would be this morning. So it's been about a month since I was last down the woods, and to be quite honest, I'm missing it. It's one of those places that gives me a lot of peace and calm when I'm in them. And even though this time of year, as we all well know, certainly in the UK, the woodlands are difficult places to photograph. I always think that if you're happiest in a place, then you'll always get some creative enthusiasm for wherever you are. So I don't really think it makes any difference the time of year or wherever you are, as long as you enjoy the place. Right, that's it. Boots are on. Get the gear, and I'll see you in the woods. So I've literally just walked into the woods. I'm in within about 20 strides, and already something's caught my eye. I'm just going to whiz you round so you can see what I'm seeing. So I hope it translates, but in the foreground, immediate foreground leading into the wood, is a large area of tufted hairgrass, largely backlit, just starting to sway in the breeze, and they're really beautiful. Now on this little camera that I'm holding, it's got quite a wide angle of view on it, so it's the display of them isn't probably as fantastic as it looks as I'm standing overlooking them. And we've got a little branch that snapped, not a significant branch at all, but it sort of creates a little bit of interest, and I am going to try and photograph it because we've got some beautiful soft light right now, and I like the way that it just leads you into the secretive world of the woodland beyond. So I am going to have a crack at that whilst I can, and it may not come out very well at all. I'm not expecting great things, but I just love the peacefulness of it. So let's give that a go. So there was a barking road here just a minute ago, so I'm going to keep my voice down. Don't want to disturb it. It was barking. I'm not sure if it was barking because of me. Maybe it just was walking through the wood and suddenly saw someone standing there fiddling with a camera and terrified the living daylights out of it. Just very briefly for this scene, it's not a showstopper. I just like it. Of course, we've got all these beautiful. I just love this grass, tufted hairgrass. What I've done is I've framed the composition so that this. You can almost hear it bounding through the woods, barking as it goes. I've arranged all the grasses on the left hand side of the frame. It was a little bit too heavy with me just focusing on them and nothing else in the frame. It just looked a bit too busy. So I've included a bit of the open glade just to the right, just to give it some sort of balance. and you get a better feel for how the ground is, the ground is laying, and the lay of the land is what I'm trying to say. And it incorporates a bit of the bracken that's in the background that's growing up there. I'm saying bracken, it's actually just regular ferns, they're not bracken at all, just to give it a bit of context. But yeah, very nice little starter scene, quite happy with that, but very, very peaceful, and I think that's what I'm trying to capture with this. I've moved the composition so that the branch that's coming into the frame, it's snapped a little bit untidy at the top, so I've moved that out of the composition. And yeah, f16, 100 ISO. Oh, and I have put a polarizer on. The distant background trees were catching the early morning light. The tops of the leaves are a little bit too reflective for my liking and a bit of a distraction, so I've just dialed my case polarizer round to full extent as it happens, just to get rid of those. But yeah, a nice little starter shot. So those of you that are into a little bit of botany, so might as well point this one out here, especially if you live in the UK. This is a beautiful little plant called Enchanter's Nightshade, and what a fantastic little name for such a delicate plant. I've never photographed it, and I'm not really sure why. I think it's because when you look at the flowers, they're so tiny. Very, very difficult to do justice to, but maybe one day I'll give it a go. Right, so I have just had a go at the Enchanter's Nightshade when I walked away, and I thought, why not just give it a go? Why say I've never photographed it and just not try it? So here we go. I've tried it and I've got some nice results so far. At least I think. The shutter speeds are ridiculously slow, so I've put the camera on, oops, just took a picture, put the camera on 800 ISO. Everything's nice and still here, but what I have done crucially is I've changed the white balance on the camera. I've actually got it on 4000 Kelvin at the moment, just to give me a nice cool blue look to the frame. Now hopefully I can find something that's appealing to show you, because I am intending on showing you the pictures, or at least one of the pictures that I've just taken. So it's the method that I've used previously in the last couple of videos, whereas I just look around for compositions, but you can see straight away there that looks really nice. You can see the bokeh in the background, how that's going nice and blue with the cool light of the morning. Now just that in itself is a nice shot, and because I'm shooting through vegetation, you can see out of focus foreground and background, and just a case of arranging something as soon as you see it. I quite like that. I like the refraction in the background is quite nice. Let's see if there's anything else. Just keep poking the camera around in different places, and eventually you'll land on something nice. Now at the moment I'm rotating the focusing barrel just to hone in on various things that I see, but it's nice to use those specular highlights in the background. You can see there that one just sticking up into that lovely background. There is definitely a shot there. Take that one. Holding this at 30th a second is just not easy, but I love that fern frond just in the background coming into shot. If I get that, it'll be nothing short of a miracle. So hopefully, if that one hasn't come out, I'll put one of the other ones on now. Just briefly, I'm at f4.8 at the moment, 800 ISO, like I say, manual white balance, and the shutter speed, well, yeah, anything around about 30th, 45th of a second, something like that. So I will put one of those on now. So I'm heading now into one of my favourite parts of the woodland. This is where I tend to get most of my inspiration, and despite this little section here looking like a well-trodden path, just off to the right you hit an area where no one ever seems to go, and you get it all to yourself for hours and hours on end without seeing a single person. And when I have a place to myself, it's when I tend to feel the most inspiration. So here the path splits just up this little hill. There's some beautiful, gorgeous morning light just showing through the trees at the background. And this particular section of woodland, you get a mix of broadleaf trees, alders and lots of birch, but also an area of pine plantation, so a nice mix of species. So I'll get in there, get into my little hidey place, and I'll see you in just a few minutes. So one of the things that I really love about this particular place is the ability to get lost in it. And I know compared to some parts of the world, this little section of paradise that I call my favourite place is tiny compared to places where people go into wilderness areas in the likes of Alaska, places like that. I mean, this pales into insignificance, but I can literally get lost in this small area of woodland. I've never been here before. I've never ever been here before, and yet, as you can hear, I'm only about 150 yards away from the nearest road, and I've considered myself to have explored all this particular woodland, but it never ceases to amaze me just how easy it is to get lost in such a small place. All around me there's former spikes of bluebells, lots of seeds on them, lots of seed heads. Really lovely place. Now, I've got a shot lined up that I wasn't going to show you, but it's such a nice composition, it seems a shame not to show it. And the reason I was hesitant is because it's a woodland floor shot, and I was trying to stay away from woodland floor shots a little bit today, but the composition of this, it just lends itself beautifully to a photograph. It's going to need a little bit of work, post-processing, in terms of it definitely needs a vignette, but the composition is absolutely spot on. I'll show you it now. So just down here you see my tripod already in position. Just manoeuvre you around. This is similar to a shot I did a few videos ago where I focused on a real close-up of a similar cluster of leaves with this same colour. So here we've got some sycamore leaves that have started to dry up in the summer heat that we've had recently. But look at the way they've arranged themselves on the floor. Now the background isn't the best, I have to say, but look at the composition, the space in between each of those leaves. It's just begging itself to be photographed. And of course you've got all this lovely detail, these lime green veins running through the leaves. Now the reason I say it needs a bit of post-processing is because the leaf litter underneath isn't the most attractive. There's lots of white strands and needles, which I will probably try and reduce the highlights so they're not as obvious, but you've got quite a lot of unsightly leaf litter, let's say. But what I intend to do is put a vignette round the whole thing just to draw you in. So I'll just show you quickly on the back of the camera now. Right, so we can try and get a little pointer. I don't think we need it, it's quite obvious what the composition is. It's a full frame shot, no crop whatsoever. In terms of aperture, I'm on f/19. It's a straight shot. There's no need to do a focus stack on this. I've got my 35 to 90mm lens on, and I'm quite a long way out, so depth of field of course is maximised as distance increases from the subject. 1.4 seconds at 100 ISO, and it goes without saying that it's a nice composition. You've got this lovely arrangement of leaves fanning from the top right to the middle section here and bottom left here. You've got a nice one filling the space here, and just look at these spacings of these leaves. Virtually, if not all of them, have got little bits of space around them. And of course you've got, oops, nearly, then you've got the fan of the leaf ribs, the stalks, just fanning out nicely, taking your eye into the shot. If there's one thing I'm not keen on, it's the tip of the stalk. It's where it's been snapped off. It's got a little bit of white on it, which I will probably either tone down as part of reducing the highlights in post-processing, or I'll just put a little bit of a clone on it and just get rid of it. Chances are, if I clone it, it might look odd under close scrutiny. It's best if I can just take the exposure of that little spot down a bit. Possibly thinking about it now on my feet, I'll probably just do a spot reduction on the highlight of that particular area. But really nice image. It really shows decay in the woodland and the levels and the time it takes for leaves to break down. This one being a new addition to the leaf litter of the forest floor. Really nice, simple shot, paying close attention that the camera is directly over the top of the subject, so that I don't have to worry about focus stacking and getting everything out of alignment. I've taken a couple already and I've checked them. This top one here, the highest point, and the leaf litter at f/19 are all in beautifully sharp focus. So I'll put that shot on now. Not going to be safe to sit on. A beautiful light. Time for a drink and a few nuts, I think. So I'd just like to quickly thank everybody that's booked on workshops this year. They are now all officially full. And some of you who are booked on the workshops, if you're watching this is one of the places that we are coming to. So look forward to that in the autumn. If you do want to consider a workshop in the future, they will be available on my website in the new year. Those of you that have already bought my ebook, The Intimate Landscape, you will already be on the mailing list, so you will get notification of those in due course. Right, I'll enjoy my nuts and raisins, have a few minutes and then get back to it. I really hope you can't hear my munching. This microphone's incredibly close to my feasting. So after a little bit of fiddling around, I've got a shot that I really quite like. It's so different, but it's just the sort of intimate landscape type shot that I really like to take. I'll put it on the back of the camera in just a second, just so you know the settings. First of all, I determined that the speed of the water for this shot needs to be around about a 1/4 or a 1/6 of a second to get exactly what I need. The reflected light is just perfect right now. But as it comes and goes, I'm having to just vary the exposure ever so slightly to make sure that I get that exact shutter speed that I want for the light on the water. But it always seems to be around about a 1/4 or a 1/6 of a second. I'm currently on f11, which is ideal, and I've got a panoramic the X-Pan crop set on my camera, which is not too dissimilar to a 2x1. So I'll put it on the back of the camera now and we'll just have a look at the shot. Get myself a big pointy stick just so I can show you the composition. So the composition that that I was drawn to, I was stood just back here looking at, was initially it was the fan shape that the reflected light was making on the water there, and it was just that area to the right of this fall that I was particularly interested in. But as I've lined it up, I've now found that this line of water running through the frame at a slight diagonal is really quite nice. And when you put that on a crop, the Hasselblad X-Pan crop or 2x1, and I'll just put that crop on now for you. It eliminates the top and bottom of the scene and just focuses your attention on that little area in the centre. And I like the little nick that's taken, the little V shape that's taken out of the line of rock, which really makes it quite dynamic. Now I've dialed the exposure down quite significantly, underexposed by almost 2 stops, just so that I only really take advantage of the highlights and let the shadows do what they need to. There's certainly enough within the latitude of the exposure, within the dynamic range of the camera, to bring those shadows back up if I need to. But currently I'm on f11 and 1/4 of a second. I'm just going to put that to 6th, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just open the aperture up ever so slightly to f8. Because I'm working quite steeply down on top of it, I can get everything I need at f8, and don't forget, because the water's moving, sharpness isn't as critical as it would otherwise have been. But really liking the reflected light, and I love the shape and the patterns that the water's making. 120mm macro lens, no polarizer on whatsoever. Really nice image. So I'll put that on now. Ooh, it's quite a steep bank. So I don't normally have messages as part of my videos, but I do have a little bit of a message today. And that's because this time of year, we're in the middle of July, as I've said earlier, many photographers, especially those of you that do the bigger landscape, find it difficult to find inspiration. So what I would say is this: always and only go to places that you really love at this time of year, whether that be a particular woodland or a particular habitat, but always head for those places that mean the most to you, because you will nearly always find something to shoot. And if you don't find something to shoot, you'll have spent some time in a place that you love, and that is what matters the most. So I'm going to leave it there and say thank you all ever so much for watching. Images to come on in just a second. As always, if you're not a subscriber, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Give the video a nice big thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, that always helps, and leave some comments below. So I'll put the images on now and say I will see you in the next one. So until then, bye for now.